The story begins with the hero, Yuga, gathering outside the Demon Lord's castle with his loyal party. Before entering the castle, the party members hype each other up for the final battle. Soon, the castle's gates open and several sinister eyes peek out from within. After the party enters the castle, they are greeted by the Demon Lord's general, Yoki, who arrogantly taunts them for being too weak. The party's mage tries to attack Yoki with an energy blast, but he easily dispels it. Next, the swordsman tries to melee him, but Yoki dodges him attack and sends him back with a kick. Finally, the support mage, Cecilia, uses an enhancement spell on Yuga, who unleashes his ultimate spell, Excalibur, towards Yoki. Yoki retorts with his own endless dark spell, which clashes with the hero's Excalibur. After a power struggle, Yoki overwhelms the hero and defeats the whole party on his own, lying on the ground, defeated. Yuga wonders if this is the end of the road for him and his friends. After Yuga passes out, Yoki starts healing all the defeated heroes. However, he notices that the support mage looks very pretty and ends up distracted by her looks. After some time, he brings the heroes to a prison in the castle. Inside, Yoki's subordinates ask him if they should kill the heroes. Yoki gets shocked by their presence, so all of his subordinates start calling him out for staring at the unconscious Cecilia. Finally, Yoki sighs and tells them to dump the heroes near a human village, painfully saying goodbye to his angelic crush. After a month, the Demon Lord summons Yoki straight to his room. There, his right-hand man, Zekil, asks Yoki how many times he had to deal with the heroes returning for a challenge. Yoki tells him that they've challenged him 13 times already, so Zekil thinks that the heroes are a bunch of weaklings who can't learn their lesson. The Demon Lord wonders why Yoki still hasn't ended the heroes' lives yet. In response, Yoki explains that those miserable heroes don't even deserve his attention. Hearing this, the Demon Lord suggests letting his subordinates handle the task and eliminate the heroes in his place. Surprised, Yoki thinks that his poor servants stand no chance against the hero's power, since he also doesn't want the pretty support mage to get hurt. He offers to dispose of the heroes by himself. The Demon Lord smiles, silently agreeing to let Yoki handle it. As Yoki leaves the throne room and heads back to his room, he feels worried for the heroes' lives. He also knows that he's the only one overpowered enough to defeat the heroes. Otherwise, they are strong enough to kill the Demon Lord. In the end, Yoki wonders what he should do next, since the Demon Lord will soon rule over the entire world. The next day, the heroes return to the Demon Lord's castle once more. After Yoki knocks back their swordsman and Yuga, the assault mage, Mikana, tries to counterattack with her own spell. Even though Yoki blocks her initial barrage of spells, Mikana quietly unleashes a second wave right after, catching him by surprise. Despite this, Yoki still reacts in time to block it, and his lightning-fast reflexes leave Mikana completely shocked. Meanwhile, Yoki notices Cecilia healing her friends, which causes him to blush. He then starts laughing and taunts the heroes for their futile attempts at defeating him. Still, Yuga refuses to give up and uses a powerful Excalibur spell to stop him. Unfortunately, Yoki easily survives the attack and tells the heroes they can never defeat him. Yuga refuses to quit, saying that they have no other choice but to keep going if they want to defeat the evil Demon Lord. Hearing this, Yoki suddenly points to Cecilia and tells the heroes they can continue forward if they leave her behind. Yuga instantly refuses, but Mikana suggests accepting Yoki's offer. She points out that this powerful demon can kill them whenever he wants, so they should accept his kindness and complete their true mission. Yuga still refuses to abandon their precious teammate, but at that moment, Cecilia speaks up and tells him that she's willing to stay behind. Finally, Yuga and the party move forward, promising to return for their priestess after they defeat the Demon Lord. Once they all leave, Cecilia asks Yoki why he made her stay behind. Thinking that he still wants to fight, she tries to use an attack. However, Yoki quickly surrenders and tries to negotiate with her. Cecilia questions why he's bothering to introduce himself when he plans to kill her anyway. He responds that if he truly wanted her dead, he would have done it from the very beginning. At last, she relaxes and asks him what it is that he wants. Yoki gathers his courage and admits that he fell in love with her at first sight. Admitting saying that he wants to go out with her. Cecilia is left completely shocked. After giving it some thought, she politely turns down his offer. Her rejection is so crushing that Yoki loses all his will to live. Cecilia thinks that he was just trying to trick her and tries to attack him again. However, since Yoki doesn't even bother defending, she stops her attack midway. Yoki tells her to keep going and finish him off since he doesn't want to live anymore. Cecilia refuses to believe that he'd give up so easily, so he explains that he has been trapped in the Demon Lord's castle for his entire life. He reveals that he's only allowed to go out to destroy human villages, but he never wanted to do that. Surprised, Cecilia refuses to believe him, saying that all demons are evil. Yoki explains that even if he looks like a demon, he was actually reincarnated from another world. Cecilia feels confused, so Yoki tells her that he's actually a human inside the body of a demon. She realizes that Yoki must have incredible powers as a reincarnated person, so she wonders why he hasn't defeated the Demon Lord on his own. Yoki explains that if he defeated the Demon Lord, he would become the next leader of the demons, which would force him to commit terrible atrocities against humankind. Since Yoki felt helpless, he thought that he'd spend the rest of his life miserably rotting away in his cell. However, that's when he met Cecilia, who gave him hope that life was worth living. Yoki thinks that he's ready to give up on everything since even his last hope rejected him. Suddenly, Cecilia tells him that he should keep living and use the power he has to help humanity. She thinks that he can serve another purpose in life and offers to help him move to the outside the world. A few days later, the Kingdom of Clarinus holds a celebration for all their heroes on their victory against the Demon Lord. King Darts congratulates all the heroes before him for protecting their world from a great evil and announces that their kingdom will hold a 3-day celebration in their honor. Outside the kingdom, Yoki watches from a secluded spot. Knowing that Cecilia lives there, to disguise himself as a normal human, he painfully breaks off his demon horn and enters the kingdom. Meanwhile, Makana congratulates Yuga on their victory, and he feels overjoyed. He then turns to Cecilia to celebrate, knowing that their win was thanks to her, which causes Makana to feel neglected. A little while later, Yoki enters the city's adventurers guild to register himself. The lazy receptionist, Clayman, sighs and pulls out the registration form. After Yoki signs the form, Clayman gives him a guild card and explains that he'll start at the lowest F rank, which goes up to S rank. He explains that Yoki can take commissions to rank up, but it normally takes an adventurer a full month to reach E rank. Then, he warns Yoki not to lose his card and wishes him good luck. After getting his card, Yoki completes a bunch of missions and gets enough money to rent an inn. A week later, he enters the guild again, where all the adventurers are discussing a rising adventurer who is ranking up crazy fast. Meanwhile, Yoki asks Clayman for some more commissions, but the lazy receptionist gets enraged since he doesn't want to deal with any paperwork today and tells him to talk to the pretty lady next to him instead. However, Yoki refuses, saying that he likes spending time with Clayman instead. Putting that aside, Clayman asks Yoki about his real identity, knowing that no normal person can go from F to D rank in just a week. Yoki tries to pretend he doesn't know, so Clayman sighs, saying that he can't persecute him since he hasn't done anything illegal. Just then, a hooded girl walks in and asks Clayman to cancel Yoki's missions. Surprised, Yoki realizes that the hooded girl is Cecilia. Clayman also wonders why the hero priestess is visiting the guild, so Cecilia tells him to keep his voice down. She then turns to Yoki and invites him to her house for a private chat. As they ride in Cecilia's carriage, Yoki wonders why a girl invited him home. When they reach Cecilia's house, one of the guards gets suspicious after seeing Yoki coming out of the carriage. He points his spear at Yoki and demands to know why he was with Cecilia, so she steps out and explains that he's her friend. Then, another guard drags his partner away, and Cecilia takes Yoki inside for tea. There, she apologizes for not finding him sooner, but Yoki doesn't mind. He wonders how she managed to find him in such a massive city, and she explains that he's become extremely popular in town after climbing all the way to D rank in such a short time. Because of that, she asks him to quit the Adventurers Guild, which leaves him completely confused. She explains that after Yuga defeated the Demon Lord, the other nations have started a proxy war to take power. She reveals that Yuga is already getting plenty of offers from the rulers, including women, money, and all the power he could dream of. While Yoki feels jealous of the hero, he also realizes that the nations are just trying to use him as a pawn. Cecilia then points out that with his extraordinary power, Yoki would also attract similar attention from the nations wanting to use his strength. Since since he's even stronger than the hero. She fears that Yoki's power would be misused to take over the world. Yoki understands her fears, but he also reminds her that he has bills to pay. Cecilia offers to hire him herself, but she admits that she doesn't have the money worth his time. She then begs him to accept her offer, but suddenly, Yoki tells her to raise her head. He confidently declares that even if the most beautiful woman on earth were offered to him, he would never accept it since he only has eyes for Cecilia. This makes her laugh, and Yoki feels embarrassed by his own big words. Soon, Cecilia's mother, Celia, also enters the room. She apologizes to Yoki for her guard's rude behavior and sends her maid, Sophia, to discipline him. Once the maid leaves, Celia reveals that her daughter is already getting many engagement offers. Yoki gets shocked since even the hero, Yuga, tried confessing to Cecilia, but she reassures him that she turned him down. Seeing Yoki's flustered reaction, Celia wonders if he also likes her daughter. She then sits with him and asks if he'd like to marry Cecilia. Shocked, Yoki wonders if she's testing him, but Celia tells him to give her a straight answer. Then, he shakes his head, explaining that he has already been rejected by Cecilia once. Yoki explains that he's currently trying to build a stable life as an adventurer to propose to Cecilia again. Celia asks if he's refusing her generous offer, so Yoki tells her that he'll still respect Cecilia's feelings. Finally, Celia approves of Yoki's conduct and explains that she was just testing him to see if he jumped at the chance. Since she wouldn't marry her daughter to just any desperate creep, she approves of Yoki and allows him to visit their house in the future. Afterward, Cecilia tells Yoki that her mother might be interested in him. While Yoki still feels uneasy about her mom, he appreciates the chance she gave him. He then asks if he can call her by her first name, and she agrees, calling him by his first name in return. Overjoyed, Yoki cheers loudly, feeling like he is one step closer to the girl he loves. The next day, Yoki tracks down a cicatrice for his quest and effortlessly avoids all of its lasers. As Yoki keeps dodging it, the monster grows even more furious and continues charging towards him. Once it gets close enough, Yoki unleashes a powerful thunderbolt spell that turns the monster bird into a big pile of KFC. After that, he collects every last feather from the bird to finish the quest. Out of nowhere, a Dullahan suddenly shows up, and almost immediately after, a harpy swoops down from above and attacks Yoki. Then, a second boy joins in and also goes after him, prompting Yoki to remind the three attackers that he is actually their former master. Once they realize that the boy is Yoki in disguise, Duke asks why he vanished following the Demon Lord's death. The others share the same question, so Yoki decides to explain the reason he suddenly left them behind. First, he proudly reveals how he confessed his feelings to Cecilia and got rejected without a second thought. Then, Yoki also tells the demons that he is currently living as a human adventurer. This surprises all of them, so Yoki tells everyone they're free to live their lives without him now. However, none of them wants to abandon their master. Curious to see what kind of girl made him leave his previous post, Yoki firmly refuses to let them come along, reminding the demons that they would also need to endure the trouble of wearing extremely careful disguises. Even so, none of them are discouraged by this warning, and in the end, Yoki agrees to let them join. Afterward, he strips them all of their demonic features. When Cecilia finds out that Yoki stripped the poor harpy of all her feathers, she immediately starts chewing him out for his insensitive action. Yoki also admits his mistake and apologizes, so all the demons enjoy watching him suffer. Then, Cecilia takes them all inside her house to serve tea. There, she feels surprised that all three demons pulled off such natural human disguises. Duke explains to her that he attached his head to his armor, while Seek the Pixie and Happiness the Harpy also removed their most prominent features to fit into society. Then, he also tells Cecilia that Yoki is the reason their demon party is so laid back. Back in the Demon Lord's castle, Zekil would always try to force Yoki to work. Unfortunately for him, Yoki always refused to go out of his room, leaving the Demon Lord completely frustrated. At the time, Duke thought it was a good idea to punish Yoki, but he got his head blown off instead. Ever since then, he has been serving Yoki as a true subordinate. Cecilia realizes the respect all the demons hold for him. Suddenly, Yoki realizes that the other two demons are missing. Since they can't afford to let anyone else see them, the group gets up to search for the missing troublemakers. As they walk through the mansion's courtyard, the group finds Seek sleeping on Celia's lap. Yoki apologizes to Celia for any trouble caused by his friend, but she reassures him that it's no trouble. She explains that she had been following Seek around since he was playing alone, but the young boy boy got tired and fell asleep. Yoki nods, but asks her where Happiness went since she was also with Seek. Hearing this, Celia reveals that Sophia found Happiness and already took her in to train her into a proper maid. All of the kids head inside and ask Sophia why she kidnapped their innocent friend. As Sophia learns that Happiness is with Yoki, she explains that she was supposed to get a new maid and just assumed it was her. Yoki also apologizes to Sophia for getting her hopes up and asks Happiness to change out of her uniform. For some reason, Happiness refuses to remove it. She turns to Sophia and asks to keep the job anyway, leaving everyone shocked. Afterward, everyone congratulates Happiness on her new job as they prepare to leave. Celia welcomes the demons to visit her whenever they can, before sneaking up to Yoki. She quickly tells him that Cecilia has a day off coming up, so he should take her out on a date. Elated, Yoki instantly agrees to the parents-sanctioned official hangout. The next day, he waits for Cecilia at their meeting spot. Soon, her carriage arrives at the destination, and she gets off wearing a pretty disguise outfit. As Yoki stares at her in surprise, Cecilia wonders if he's okay. He explains that her glasses really caught him off guard, so she reminds him that she has to remain disguised since the entire city knows her. Then, Cecilia apologizes for putting Yoki through all this, but he shakes his head and promises to make it the best date ever for her. Afterward, both of them explore the city streets together. On their walk, Cecilia notices a cute bakery and makes a mental note to have tea there later. Then, she starts admiring some flowers at a shop, but Yoki inwardly thinks that the flowers can't even compare to her beauty. After they leave the flower shop, Cecilia begins stroking a nearby cat while making cute cat-like sounds, causing Yoki to deliberately look away so he won't give in to the temptation. Shortly after, the two head to a clothing boutique, where Yoki assists her in choosing a beautiful red dress. Afterward, Cecilia thanks Yoki for his company since she already feels well rested from her usual stressful days. Surprised, he feels glad that he could help her feel better. Then, he takes her to an accessory shop for a small gift. Nearby, Yuga is also out on a date with Makana in disguise. Spotting Cecilia, he immediately starts calling out to her, but Makana shuts him up to protect their covers. Yuga then walks over to Cecilia, wondering what she's doing outside. He tells her that he's exploring the city with Makana and invites her to join them, leaving Yoki entirely out of the equation. Cecilia tries to explain she's hanging out with Yoki, so Yuga finally agrees to let him come along as well. Then, he drags her over to the accessories shop. While Makana feels upset that her first date got ruined, she asks Yoki if he's also on a date with Cecilia, so he nods. Hearing this, Makana orders Yoki to woo Cecilia so she can finally get Yuga's attention in her place. While Yoki thinks Makana is being considerate of him, she quickly stops that train of thought by calling him an ugly loser. Then, she heads inside the accessory shop, while Yoki wonders if Yuga is still trying to riz Cecilia even though she declined his marriage proposal. Angered by Yuga's shameless advances, he heads inside, determined to protect his beloved. After going in, Yoki asks Cecilia if she'd like a present. She feels bad about burdening him, but Yoki feels like making the date special for her. Nearby, Yuga notices Yoki talking to Cecilia, so he rudely butts in. As Yuga leaves to buy his own accessory for Cecilia, Yoki picks out a pretty necklace for her. Cecilia feels happy to receive the pretty pendant, but soon enough, Yuga returns to ruin her fun. He shows her the most expensive accessory from the store, which isn't nearly enough to catch her attention. Yuga then removes Cecilia's hat without her permission to make her wear the accessory, which causes everyone in the store to notice her identity. In an instant, a huge crowd gathers all around the hero's party, kicking Yoki to the side like a piece of trash. Then, the crowd runs out of the shop, taking Cecilia away with it. Yoki gets up and tries to track it down, but he runs into another hero getting harassed by a crowd of girls. Realizing it's Raven, the swordsman from Yuga's party, Yoki wonders if he should help him. He suddenly points to a random direction and acts like he saw Hero there, so all of the love-struck girls leave Raven and rush over there instead. Once the girls have left, Yoki drags Raven over to a quiet alley. Since the handsome knight remains silent, Yoki wonders if he doesn't want to talk. He turns around to leave, but Raven finally calls out to him with an embarrassed look. Hearing his soft voice, Yoki wonders if the dashing knight feels shy about speaking with it. Raven nods and asks Yoki if he also thinks his voice isn't manly. However, Yoki refuses to laugh at him, saying that everyone has a part of themselves they don't like. Raven feels surprised that Yoki's so considerate while he turns around to search for Cecilia. Seeing his kind nature, Raven asks if Yoki would like to become his friend. Yoki feels surprised by the sudden offer, while Raven starts getting cold feet. Thankfully, Yoki accepts his offer, but he quickly turns around to search for his missing date. After a while of searching, Yoki wonders if Cecilia is okay by herself in the big city. Meanwhile, Cecilia also searches for him, stumbling upon a lost child. After healing the child's injury, Cecilia wonders where his parents are. The little boy starts crying because he lost his mom, but his voice attracts Yoki from nearby. Soon, he shows up and acts like a hero to save the day. Cecilia feels surprised, but she scolds him for making reckless promises. Watching a grown man get schooled, the little boy starts laughing at Yoki's misery. Afterward, Yoki starts searching for the boy's mom with Cecilia. While searching, Yoki wonders if Cecilia should head home in case another crowd attacks her. She shakes her head, saying that they'll deal with the crowds if they cause any issues again. Yoki agrees and keeps moving, while Cecilia sneezes in perfectly hot weather. Elsewhere, Yuga keeps trying to find Cecilia. Makana asks him to go home, but Yuga shakes her off and runs away to look for Cecilia. As he leaves, Makana feels upset that he showed her the cold shoulder despite being on a date with her. Soon, Yuga spots Cecilia standing with Yoki, and he turns around to tell Makana. However, he feels surprised after seeing that she's nowhere to be seen. The next day, Yoki learns that Cecilia collapsed on the way home. Celia explains that her daughter caught a horrible cold since she was already tired, but Yuga's stunt caused her to be exhausted from dealing with the crowd. Celia also notes that Yuga kept forcing his way into Cecilia's affairs, so she sent Sophia to dispose of him. While Yoki feels surprised that Sophia can casually toss the hero away, Celia praises him for helping her daughter so much. She allows Yoki to visit Cecilia in her room, so Sophia takes her there. After she knocks on Cecilia's door, the young girl feels embarrassed since she doesn't want Yoki to see her room. Sophie reassures Cecilia that she hid away her stuffed teddy bear, which completely kills all her aura points. Then, Yoki finally heads inside, flustered to be in a girl's room. There, he finds Cecilia on her bed and sits down to speak with her. Yoki thinks it's his fault she got sick since he showed her around so many places. Although Cecilia doesn't mind, she plays along and tells him that he needs to compensate her by taking her out on an even better date next time. Excited, Yoki gets up and starts bragging like he's some kind of hero who'll sweep her off her feet. Watching him yap like an idiot, Cecilia also starts laughing along with his act, which pisses Sophia off. The maid quickly barges in and tosses Yoki away, claiming that he'll worsen Cecilia's condition by making her laugh so much. Afterward, Yoki starts heading back home when he notices Raven walking towards Cecilia's mansion. Yoki wonders what's up, so Raven explains he wants to confess to a girl. Raven reveals that this girl is kind enough to compliment his soft voice, so he feels attracted to her. However, he doesn't feel confident in his abilities, so Yoki reassures him that a tall and handsome man would be fine no matter what. With the confidence boost from Yoki, Raven agrees and heads towards Cecilia's mansion. Watching him walk away, Yoki finally starts wondering which kind girl Raven has feelings for, before realizing that the one he plans to confess to is Cecilia, meaning Yoki may have just gotten another rival in love. That was the second episode. Subscribe to not miss the next part and watch the next video on screen.